Hi guys, thank you for watching my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Uranus in the first house. So what is Uranus? Uranus is where we free ourselves of the conditions that we were born into, whether it's our family or whether it's how we were raised in some way. It's where we look to reform. It's where we rebel against the old to bring in new. It's where we look for change within ourselves as well as to change external environments through unique, innovative thoughts. It's kind of going out and paving our own way. And it's where we need change. The first house is our personality. It's our physical body. It's how we go out and take action into the world. So Uranus in the first house, physically, there is usually something distinctly different about someone with Uranus in the first. Some kind of physical feature that may be unique in some way. A lot of times I've seen that Uranus could be, for instance, exceptionally tall. And there's also something that seems maybe kind of restless about Uranus in the first, like a tension where just this kind of this looking around or maybe feeling slightly uncomfortable in some way and not really being settled in their physical being. Personality-wise, you are someone who goes out into the world seeking to be set apart in some way. You have no wish to conform. You may also choose radically different lifestyles compared to those within your family. So if you were born into a family that may have been very conservative, Uranus in the first, you're going to be someone who's not going to take that path. You're going to kind of branch out and do the exact opposite of what you were raised within. And you're really going to insist on your freedom in action as well as within your choices in life in a very rebellious kind of way at some points. Not always, but it's like this, I have to do this. It's an urge. It's a compulsion to break out, to basically just strip yourself of the conditions that you grew up in some way, to get rid of that, to start afresh, to go out and create your own life, to go out and act in the way that you feel is appropriate, that really hasn't been modeled to you. You didn't learn this from someone or something. This is something that you are going to find for yourself, and it's going to be self-instigated kind of uniqueness that is truly yours. You are a leader. You are someone who wants to pave the way, not just for yourself, but for others. And following is really not something that you are comfortable in, that you may really feel almost that it's too much of an oppressive energy when you are told to follow others, stay in line. That's something that's not going to be comfortable for you. And it's really not a part of your evolution within this life with Uranus in this placement. You are also someone who, for those who know you, you are like really cool. You're like the free thinker, you're the individual, you're the leader, you're the revolutionary. But those outside of your circle, you can seem more threatening in some way, maybe a little odd, eccentric, rebellious, and even dangerous as well. Like I said, like kind of threatening, and like it's almost like I don't want to set him off, or like I don't know what to expect about him. Maybe there's an unpredictability about your behaviors or what people can kind of count on from you. In general, others' opinions for you are not really your concern. This is something where you are gifted with this ability to kind of just let others' opinions roll right off of you. It's the kind of vibe where it's like, I am who I am, take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. Like, there's no question about it. It's like, this is who I am, and if you don't like it, then we're just not meant for each other. And there's very much like a freedom in that, where you're not going to dwell on like, oh, that person, I rubbed them wrong, and oh, no, you're like, okay, cool, like, and then you're able to move on and still do your own thing. With Uranus in your first house, your birth story as well as your childhood, this is where you may have been a surprise to your parents, where they weren't expecting to have a child, or you could have come early as a baby or late. There was something around your birth or your birth story that was shocking in some way or unpredictable. And often from early on as a child, your family and everyone around you, there was this sense of something that was different about you. Maybe it was through your behavior. It could have been a physical feature like we talked about. But there's this overall sense that everyone kind of knew this about you, and it was almost like, oh, you know him or her, that they just do their own thing, or that's just how they are. It was distinct from the very get-go that you are someone who just goes to the beat of their own drums in some way. As far as a past life, this is where Uranus can be considered to be long-term memory of trauma in some way that can go from life to life, and you can carry that trauma with you. And with Uranus in the first house, this is where there can really be a difficulty in accepting limitations in some way. This could be physical or psychological limitations that would hinder you in maintaining your own personal freedom. And also within a past life, this could also mean that there was some kind of upset or some kind of outside event that took that freedom from you. Maybe it was early on in life where you felt that, you don't want to be entrapped in that same type of situation where your freedom or your individuality, that choice, that option was taken from you. There's this deep fear that could be taken away again, and that somehow within this life you could experience a similar scenario. And this trauma can unconsciously cause you to feel limited or pressured to push yourself to always maintain your personal freedom no matter what the cost. This is kind of the inner drive of this placement. It goes deeper than just being an individual. There's a need to break out of this kind of evolutionary cycle that could have been going on from prior lives. And it's very important to gain awareness of this, to look at this area further and to find more deeper healing here within your life. You can also have this impulsive need to take action that could be very reckless or rebellious or destructive in some way, kind of just for the sake of being rebellious. And once again, this has to do with that inner, deeper wound that is needing healing. With Uranus here, sometimes there's a need to break away so much that we just don't want to face reality. We don't want to face responsibility. So this is where it can take a dark turn if we're not careful or we're not consciously moving in positive ways. This could also be where you could be extremely stubborn, picking reasons and points of views just for the sake of being different or offending others. Sometimes there's a need to just cause a disruption for no other reason but just disturbing the peace. Sometimes there could be a fear that you might be imprisoned by your own creative or behavioral impulses. This could look like exploding on others or not being able to control yourself in a way that could be destructive to you or to those around you. Uranus in the first, your goal in this life is to go out and practice complete autonomy and self-direction. It's about fresh and original thoughts as well as putting that into some kind of physical form or creative outlet. You may offend others and receive criticism for your choices. And it's important for you to know that in order to achieve your purpose, that is just part of the assignment within this life. when you are offending people, this sounds really weird, but I have an Aquarius sun, so I kind of know this Uranus kind of energy. It's like you're working within your energy at the highest level a little bit. So being offensive is part of the job. And I know it's a fine balance because I said, don't disrupt just to disrupt. And then there's a difference here because Uranus is meant to break up old or outdated ideas. So if you know your intentions are good and that your actions are good, you care more about the collective as a whole, different cultures, and you're more open-minded, and that's what's offending people. Okay, that's totally normal. Good for you. Like that's the change we need. And yes, it will offend people. Just expect it. Just expect it. And just be happy knowing that you are working in your highest form of energy. You also may feel oddly comfortable doing within different kinds of situations or lifestyles that the majority of people would not feel comfortable within. And this is something where you're going to have to learn to know this and to not question it. You know your comfort level. And whoever doesn't understand or is concerned, you have to just know in the politest way, okay, well, that's good for you, but this is really good for me. And you have to know that here. Don't let anyone manipulate you into being anything other than you truly are. This is absolutely key with this placement. Celebrate your independence and ability to be unique. And that is my interpretation of Uranus in the first. I hope that this was helpful. Please feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what your experiences with this placement are. And thank you so much. I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.